be, where you're going to be going, all that stuff for spring football, the showcase and all the goodness, including the event on Friday, and where we're going to be for Saturday as well as Friday, in addition to that Battles End event over there. Man, just good times. It's a lot. Masters was fun yesterday, but what a weekend for Florida State baseball as well. It was, Tom, first of all, I see you over there. Director's here as well. Family's all here. That's good. It was so much fun the other day. I want to make sure we lead with this. Thanks to everybody that came out and participated in the Jeff Cameron Show / Warchant, quote unquote, invitational, right? That this was fantastic for everybody that signed up and helped out Second Harvest of the Big Bend. And our great friends and partners over there, Capital City Country Club, did such a wonderful job of prepping the course and getting everybody ready. And then we had so many wonderful sponsors and folks that add to the experience on the actual day of the event. Too many to list and name here. I'll make mention all throughout the week of how much we appreciate the things that they offer up and provide for our golfers and for you guys that are a part of this and for us. It was awesome. And we have a show this Thursday, just like we did last year, where we're able to kind of pay it off. And I think last year, Tom, was that number something crazy, 8,000, 10,000. It was nuts how much we were able to gather in donations for the Second Harvest of the Big Bend, doing a live show. We're going to be doing it again this Thursday, but I think that was the number, something like that, wasn't it?
It was a high number, and people on, the Warchant community are amazing, and the Tallahassee community, that's where this all started. That's the root of this whole thing. And it was just, Friday was a collection of a lot of really good people putting their hearts and showing their hearts to advance the cause of an organization like the Second Harvest. And I know that our big time donors, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, what a spread they put out after the tournament was over. They had the free beer flowing. A dice game raged into the early hours of the afternoon, the middle hours of the afternoon. So that was a really good atmosphere. But Corner Pocket donates so much every year to help put on this event, make sure the golfers are taken care of after. Terry's Pool Service, obviously, not only are they a big-time sponsor of the event, but they always hole up with the Terry's Twister, a cocktail that's a favorite of everybody.
Yeah.
And then our guy Russ Voorhis came through this year as well, State Farm agent Russ Voorhis. So those were large donors, but there are so many others, like our friends Triangle, Ology, Oyster City. You're right. We could go on forever in a day. Everybody was in such a great mood, and the weather could not have been better on Friday too.
Yeah, it was a perfect day, and made possible by a lot of people, as you just pointed out. And I will also just say, yeah, we could not have been any more fortunate than we were in terms of the weather, Tom. Man, I was worried because we had that vicious storm come through earlier in the week, day before, I guess it was. We were thinking, oh, man, this is going to be a problematic deal, but the course was in great shape, and we had a blast. So we appreciate it. And I wanted to make sure I led with that. Also, hello to everybody driving around, listening on 93.3, and those in the Heisen Lincoln Law Firm chat. Hello to you guys. Obviously, we appreciate Heisen Lincoln Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Heisen Lincoln Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for free consultation. There's no cost unless they win. Your interest comes first with Heisen Lincoln Law Firm, the name you can trust. 813-803-0733. You can also visit HeisenLincolnLawFirm.com. Your advocate in times of need, offices, Tampa. So, I don't know where you want to start. I think we have to. I know, obviously, we're going to be concentrating on what we're hoping to see at the spring game this weekend. We'll lay out the course of events leading up to that. But I think we have to start with Florida State baseball, which is now in the top 5. And you look at this team, it's gone from interesting, intriguing, fun, good, all those things, to great, awesome, holy moly, can you believe this, to where we are now, which is facing the facts that Florida State can beat you in a million different ways, and they're really good at a lot of things. And as it turned out, and we were wondering at the time, that the Clemson collapse, with the set of circumstances that were really bizarre, turns out they were just outliers, and just complete outliers as to what this team would be. And as we found out now, Florida State is really good, and Baseball's a funny sport. There's so much more to do, and Link will tell you that. And I enjoyed my conversation with him last week. A lot of people liked that interview. That was fun. But now you'd be silly not to have high hopes for this group as they go through the rest of the way and on into the postseason, because they'll be playing in the postseason. There's no getting around that. And you don't want to be so negative that you refuse to accept and appreciate the games along the way in a regular season that has seen this completely flipped in historic portions too. When you think of what Florida State's now done to their rivals and what they've done to the state of Florida, undefeated against any team in the state of Florida this year, owning the state in a way that no team has, and then to dominate Florida in a way that was humiliating. There's no getting around that. If you're a Florida fan, I think you'd have to own that. I mean, you were powerless to do anything against Florida State. That was a game that featured another run ruling, but moreover, it featured a group that was, sort of, I don't know, cowering watching that Florida team. It was bizarre. And then to turn around on at short notice without a couple of starters in the rotation and sweep Miami in a series that got very testy. Go figure. Imagine that. Bitch-ass Miami can't handle getting beat, and here we are. We're just going to throw balls into the dugout and cry like bitches over and over and over and again. This is what they do. Good that they got owned. Good that they got swept. And Florida State is at a place now where we can smile, watch, and wonder, how far do they go? But appreciate each series, each game. Try to do it. It's hard. We get ahead of ourselves, especially when you can identify something as good. You want great immediately. It's hard to be in the moment. It's hard to appreciate the things that are happening in the now, but you really should, given how bad Florida State was a year ago.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how far they'll go. I know how far they'll have to go for regional play, and that's nowhere. They're going to host one. They're going to be here playing in Tallahassee in a regional setting, which is awesome. I thought it was going to be a few years before the Animals of Section B could get their block of tickets for a regional weekend, and who knows? Maybe they could line up a national 8 seed at this point. I think that's the conversation is how real is it going to be a few weeks from now, the conversation about Florida State having a national seed. And I'm talking top 8 national seed. Big time road trip this weekend. Don't we go up to Wake Forest this weekend, I do believe. So that's another giant challenge. You go on the road, you take 2 or 3, you have the inside track for a top 8 national seed. And that would just be an unbelievable. It already is. All of this stuff, it feels like happened overnight because it did. Last year, you had to wear it. Bad culture, kids who were promised, homes and places in Tallahassee in this baseball program. You had to honor those. But then after a year, he gets his guys in here, and my goodness, they're deep in the lineup. If there's one guy sitting out at a certain position one day, you don't worry. Infield, outfield, no problem. The bats are so disciplined. The at-bats are very disciplined. You can see that they're not just front runners. If they face adversity, they respond to the adversity. And I knew it would be chippy this weekend because Thursday, after we had won the game, closed it out as close, 5-4, fly ball, lead off the ninth inning the second fly ball they hit in the ninth inning. It's deep to right. We catch it. There's chirping in the dugout after the game is over. Miami's yelling at our players when the game is over. I thought, oh boy, here we go. This could get interesting. But it's a sweep, baby. First time since 1960 that Florida State swept both the Gators and the Hurricanes in the same season.
Should be noted, by the way, I've talked about this before, that part of that, the reason it hasn't happened is we used to play Miami 6 times a year. You weren't going to sweep anybody when you were playing a 6-game series, 3-3. And you used to play Florida 2-2, and before that 3. So again, it's not apples to apples. But yes, that stat is accurate. It'll be a little easier to do now moving forward for any of these teams involved. I mean, the big 3 here. You'll probably see these kinds of things happen with greater frequency than you did historically. But again, it used to be you played 6 games against Miami. It was going to be pretty damn hard to sweep Florida in 4 and Miami in 6 in a given year. Going 10-0 against those two would have been very difficult.
Agreed. They might have this year, though. If you played in that format this year, just judging by what Florida isn't, and Miami, if you get past one of their ace, their Thursday night guy in this past weekend situation, Mr. Complete Game. Dude, that game was flying by. I was doing the game thread for Warchant for the first 6 innings. I couldn't type fast enough. The first 5 innings went by, I think, in under an hour. It's like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
unbelievable. But yeah, this group is they're just you can't wait to turn on the television or go stream it to see what they do next. 30-5?
Yeah, they're 30-5, Tom, and they were so bad last year. Again, let it sink in, wash over you. It's okay. Like, you acknowledge these things when they're bad so that the good can be appreciated that much more. And this is the thing where you talk about trying to be in it and live in it. You know, it was a bad habit for a long time around here. And again, it was because the program had done everything there was to do except win a national title. So all the great wins along the way, whether it's a conference championship or a regional, sub-regional, super regional, going out to the World Series, getting to the championship round, they had done all of those things. They just had never won the national championship. And of course, once you've achieved everything there is to achieve in a sport, save for win the title, then that is the singular focus. And it was especially true because of how many great teams came up just short. And it morphed into a weird way of being a fan for a lot of people. Not all people. Not everybody was miserable all the time, only thinking about what the final game would look like. Some people were able to appreciate along the way. But as I've gotten older, I recognize that you really have to appreciate when something is good. I don't care if that something is a relationship, if it's your parents' health, if it's whatever it is. Like, you have to take ownership of that and learn to be in it and appreciate it and not worry about what's coming around the corner, because something's going to come around the corner eventually, but you can't sit there and not appreciate today for fear of what that is tomorrow. And I'm not trying to be over the top preachy. It's just that this fan base, as it pertains to baseball, got into bad habits over the years because of the sustained excellence. And then when it didn't win, you'd go into the next season. And Tom, you and I documented this for years when we started working together, because it drove me nuts and it drove you nuts too. You could go like 6-0 to start a year, or you could be 13-2 or something like that. And you'd bring up that the team was off to a good start, looked like they had a lot of the components necessary to be a very good team for the course of a season. You know, you'd talk about their depth in the lineup, their pitching rotation, the bullpen. Maybe in a particular year they were playing good defense, and you'd bring that up. And within seconds, you could count it down. Somebody would be like, well, yeah, but we know they're just going to blow it when they get into the postseason. And you couldn't enjoy a series. You couldn't even watch a series, get a desirable result, and walk out of the stadium feeling good about having just beat Florida, having just beat North Carolina, having just beat whomever. You know what I mean? You couldn't do it. And I do feel like with Link being here and that god-awful season that they had a year ago, a historically bad season for a guy that was an All-American here, a guy who bleeds garnet and gold, a guy who grew up here, went to high school here, walked into that stadium as a little boy and watched Florida State baseball. It's like it got a fresh start. And he comes here, and that season is god-awful, and you say, well, I don't think it was an illusion that he won Coach of the Year awards and had taken programs to heights they had never been before. I'm going to trust that he knows what he's doing and that he inherited a mess, and he'll get it turned around. Let's see what happens. Well, what's happened is nothing short of remarkable, and how quickly it's happened is really, really surprising. There's no other way to say that. It is surprising. We thought it would take some time, but he has been able to flip it on its ear seemingly overnight. And now you can appreciate it and try not to think about, well, will they win the conference? Will they go to the College World Series? It's certainly possible. I mean, if you look at the ways that they beat teams and the way they respond to adversity, Link loves to say it. I saw it in the chat earlier. It's true. He and Norvell love the word respond or response. And most coaches, I think, do. I think they want to see that, because you're going to face adversity in athletics. You're going to always have a day where things don't go your way, or perhaps you're not playing well, or you make a few mistakes that put yourself in an unenviable position. How do you respond to those things? Could be a loss, could be a series loss, could be a weekend where your bullpen gets lit up, could be whatever it might be. How do you respond? It'll tell you a lot about what kind of characters within the realm of sports, certainly, that a team has. And this team has a ton. There's no getting around that, which makes them infinitely lovable and easy to root for.
Well, and they're novel. Yeah, the thing that I couldn't stand was that the conversation never changed. You couldn't have one. You could not have a conversation with somebody about Florida State baseball during the good times. Now you can, because we're going on a ride together. And it's really the first time that I've ever seen Florida State go on a ride of any sort, other than, the win in Athens. And then we literally go on a trip to Baton Rouge. That felt fluky, because it was, but it was awesome, and it was a lot of fun. This is no fluke. And to advance the discussion, I would say next year, because of the atmosphere that we've seen at Hauser the last couple of weeks, specifically last week in general, man, when we play a spring showcase game, for the love of all things, can we put Florida State baseball next to that showcase? And you know what? Let them have a first pitch at noon and the spring showcase be at 5. It's okay. People like to go to 2 things at once, especially if they're coming into town. You would actually get more people into town to watch this product. They would get in the car and come over and say, wait a minute, I can make a weekend of going to see Link Jarrett's Florida State baseball team in addition to the spring showcase. I wasn't going to make the trip before. I am now. Let's see if we can work on those concurrent things. I know it's possible. I believe in you, athletic department. You can make it happen, because people want to go to these games. And man, when they get the marching Chiefs in there too, I hope that becomes a regular thing, like the Friday Night Chiefs. Just give me something like that, because that never will get old.
When we come back, I want to tell you about what we're going to be doing for the weekend festivities, where we're going to be. We got wonderful opportunities to welcome everybody back into town. All the Noles that are coming into town for obviously the game on Saturday. And we got events Friday, a couple of things to tell you about there. We've got an event on Saturday where you can come on by, have a good time. It's all relaxing, laid back, some adult beverages amongst Noles, just kind of hanging out, getting caught up. It'll be a good time, so we'll let you know all about that. Also want to mention to you right off the top, my good friends and collaborators here, Tried and True Consulting is a payments and business solutions company owned by fellow Noles. There you go. As Noles business owners, they're committed to reducing costs and increasing your bottom line, and they give back 10% of Tried and True Consulting revenue, net revenue, to the Battle's End. So hit the trifecta today. You can scan that QR code that's up right now, or you can call alumni Don or Joe at 844-464-6653. One more time, that's 844-I'm4Nole. If it makes it easier for you, I'm for Nole. Go Tried and True today. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
You've been waiting and waiting for the perfect time to buy your...
Attention Florida, are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Lika Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Lika Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Lika Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLikaLawFirm.com. Hyson Lika Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Your heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Verno Heating and Air Conditioning.
License CAC 1816186.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show rolling on 93.3. Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, as the man said. All right, so Friday, let's get together over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, a little meet and greet if you want to call it that. It's really a laid-back happy hour for any of you folks coming into town. We want to say welcome in on the Jeff Cameron Show and Warchant, of course. So me and my boys will be out there. Tom won't be in town, unfortunately, but we did have Tom this past weekend, which was great. But we're going to be over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Tom will be there in spirit, wishing he was having a spirit or two. As those of you who roll into town do so and head to 2475 Appalachian Parkway at 5 o'clock. I know my boy Coy Clark and I did this a year ago. I think we're doing it again this year. So I can't vouch for everybody on the staff, but I know we're going to be there. And last year was great, man. I got to meet so many people that have been listeners or readers or whatever it might be over the years. Just Knowles from all over the country that were in town for the spring game. Spring game is so much better than it used to be. The game itself is always kind of whatever, but in terms of the getting together and hanging out and enjoying a tailgate as we all try to bridge the gap between the end of last year and the start of this next year, centered around a spring game that this year should be pretty intriguing. Tom and myself will also be doing a pregame show, and if you're watching in the Heiselika Law Firm chat or you're looking on Warchant TV right now, you can see it. Tom and myself are doing the pregame show. We'll be back at it Saturday at noon, so early in the proceedings. There's a reason for that. We have some plans in the works for the remainder of Saturday leading up to the showcase and, the game and all that good stuff. But Tom and I did want to sit down and kind of preview this thing for you. So we're going to do this spring game edition style Saturday at noon, Warchant game day, myself and T. Lizzie, and talk about what we're expecting, what we're excited to see. I saw where the battle's in, just locked in with DJ Uwe Ungulale. Not surprising that happened, of course, given he's starting quarterback at Florida State in all likelihood. And DJ will be on display for a lot of people to see come Saturday as they make their way into this game. And I think a lot of people are pretty pumped because sort of an enigma when you consider that not a lot of people watched Oregon State last year in these parts. Let's just put it that way. You know that, right? And the last you saw him, up and down with Clemson, real good against us when he was with Clemson, real good with Clemson against us. Of course, we weren't quite the defense that Adam Fuller has now put together at that time, and Florida State's defense often got torched that year. So things have turned around. A lot's changed. But how does he look in the garnet and gold? How does he seem to be now And I've been pretty impressed as he's been able to acclimate pretty quickly. Of course, we don't get to see the scrimmages, but we were told that the last scrimmage, he looked good and took ownership. So hopefully more steps forward as they prepare for this weekend's game.
I got to tell you, I had to refresh my memory because so many things happened this weekend in the world of sports, obviously being physically down there and traveling. My notes from practice and the things I saw, and DJU was on those notes from Thursday's practice. What he does to unlock it, I got to see the arm. I know it. We've watched it. D-Rob did a great breakdown of just the throws he can make, the places he can go on the field that most quarterbacks cannot. But I walked out of there after seeing 3 or 4 throws that traveled well over 70, 75 yards. When you consider it might be 45 yards downfield, but he's throwing across the width of the field. You're just going to unlock so much more land area in this playbook. The defense has to be spread so thin and over such a large swath of the field. It's going to open things up. The threat of the arm, it's not even the threat of the speed, which is there, and it's on display of the receivers. But when you have a guy who's got a cannon like that, and he can be, let's just say, somewhere around his own 40-yard line, give or take 10 yards, and he can chuck it and it can land somewhere inside the 10-yard line on the other side of the field. Like, as a safety, I'm feeling stress at all times. As a backside corner, if somebody runs by me, because of the scout that we're going to have on DJU, I have to go run him down. There's just so many more things are open with DJ. And what I saw on Thursday was the continuation of what Mike Norvell spoke about in scrimmage number 2. He looks like he's up to speed. Like perfectly, no, but much more up to speed than when I saw him, weeks and weeks ago. He's smooth, man. Scanning the field, you can tell there's a comfort level with where the receivers are going to be, what route combinations there are. It's impressive, and I look forward to seeing what he puts out there on the showcase, in the showcase on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a spring game. I don't get all, if he plays great, doesn't mean we're winning the national title. If he plays terrible, doesn't mean we're doomed. These things have been weird in the past. The games themselves are always kind of like, By the way, so I do want to touch on this. Somebody in the chat brought up Greedy Vance. We haven't had a chance to be on the air. Friday was the event. So since it was announced that Greedy was going into the transfer portal, we haven't had a chance to talk about that. I got to tell you, now that it's happened, I am 100% not flummoxed, not surprised. This was something I thought was absolutely going to happen. And one of the reasons I thought that was observing practice. And it had more to do with frustrations as expressed by Coach Norvell towards the player than it did the player not having good days, for example. Some guys you see, you go out there, you watch practice, and you go, this isn't going to work. This guy, we're on year 3. It's just not happening. And, we'll see what happens from there. It really wasn't that way with Greedy. He'd have good days, bad days. He was always handsy, always grabby. I don't have any ill will towards Greedy Vance. It's whatever. But there was something, and this is my observation, my speculation. This is not derived from a conversation with Coach Norvell. This is just something that you can see when you're out there. And when he announced that he was entering the transfer portal, I went, yeah, makes a lot of sense. I just think they were frustrated with him. And I think Coach Norvell specifically was frustrated with him. Now, we can all speculate as to why that is. Anytime a player feels like they're being zeroed in on by a coach in terms of redirect and instruction and vitriol and frustration and all of the things that goes on in a coaching relationship with a player, who knows why that is. Sometimes it could be the actual physical play. Other times it could be the demeanor. It could be the body language. It could be the attitude. It could be stuff off the field we're not aware of. It could be any number of things that we're left to speculate on. But something was off there, Tom. I'm not shocked at all to see it go that direction. So the first of, probably what we'd say, we don't know, but I mean, several players that will be taking it on down the road has now happened.
Yeah, I think, or at least experimenting with. That's the other part of it here is there are some players that are going to say, hey, I'm entering the transfer portal, and then either their name never appears in it and it goes away, or their name does appear in it and they still come back. We've already seen all of those things play out, all of those scenarios play out in the brief existence of the transfer portal. I mean, DJ Lundy was in Boulder taking photos in Colorado uniforms, and then magically he comes back.
Yeah, he looked around and this is crazy. This isn't going to work.
That is correct. I hope we get to ask him that question. Like, what drove you back to Tallahassee? We've seen it with defensive linemen here at Florida State, where some guys pout and then go, and then some guys say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this," like a considering emoji, which we have to listen to now. Read considering emoji and go, "What does it mean?" And then they come back and everything is totally fine. So it'll be bumpy. I think some guys will enter their names in the portal and return, and then we're definitely going to have an export market. We're too talented in a couple of segment groups, one of which is where Greedy Vance played.
Right. The writing was on the wall. Not surprised that it happened. And, good luck to him. Good luck to the young man. I don't have any reason to have animosity towards him. I'm just not surprised that it happened. I think as you continue to infuse more talent and a greater depth of talent throughout this roster, which is the plan, obviously, as you do that, you're going to have more situations where I think it's going to be apparent to us certain times of the year when we're watching practice, kind of by what's being stressed and which players are getting them more of the data boys and which players are, receiving more of the ire. When all that's going down, we're going to be able to better guess or put together at least an educated guess as to the players that are walking or being asked to find the door and those that are going to be sticking around. I don't know which was what here, but I think I called you probably second full pad practice, maybe third full pad practice. I called you and I was like, man, Greedy and Mike have a tough go these days. I mean, they're having some tough times. Some of those conversations are uncomfortable.
I think part of it is, as you said before, Mike is challenging dudes because there's competition. So that's the other thing is when you were describing an extra, maybe a little bit of an edge, it's because these jobs aren't written in stone. And it's not to say that last year's group didn't have a work ethic. They had a tremendous work ethic. But when you don't know who your guys are going to be, and you are starting to build up the depth of what a top 10 program should be building, then you get to push dudes harder, and you get to see how they handle the adversity of those situations.
They've got plenty of names to fill the spot that Greedy Vance will soon vacate, or so we think. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Local news now.
A Saturday afternoon dumpster fire in Thomasville is now under investigation. The fire happening on Lester Street, just steps away from the downtown area of Thomasville. The fire started around 12:45 yesterday afternoon, and crews had it put out around 1:30. The dumpster fire had visible flames that could be seen coming from near Flowers Baking Company. The Thomasville Fire Department said the cause of the fire was under investigation. There were no reported injuries. One person has died after a crash in Crockernville Saturday evening. Florida Highway Patrol reported that a truck and motorcycle were involved in the accident. The crash happened around 6 p.m. along Spring Creek Highway. The motorcycle had two passengers. One was pronounced deceased and the other was transported to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. The driver of the truck was not injured. This is Rachel Anay with the Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows level off around 56. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 85 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 81.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to talk there. My bad. I wanted to make mention really quick, too. There's another event. We've talked about what's happening with the Battles In, an event to benefit Florida State student athletes. State of the Knolls, Mike Norvell, live address, April the 19th, 5 to 7:30 at the Moon, Tallahassee. That is your call to action. Go over. Proceeds from this event are going to benefit the Battles In. $40 general admission tickets, VIP sponsorships are available. Go to moonevents.com or thebattlesin.com to get your tickets. But also, by the way, Tom, there's going to be a roundtable of sorts, I think, too, with folks from the beat, including our own Ira Schoffel. Going to be part of that. And talking about the spring observations to boot with all the silent auction items, by the way. Really cool autographed memorabilia, exclusive stuff that you can't get anywhere else. It's an opportunity to promote your product or service, by the way. If you guys are putting together some stuff out there and you want to be part of this, you can. But definitely go to thebattlesin.com or moonevents.com and get your tickets. Just $40. You're going to want to hear from Mike and bid on some of those cool items, and proceeds going to the Battles In, helping put together that roster that we all appreciate. So that's this Friday from 5 to 7:30 as well.
I think it's a nice little 1-2 punch that you can pull as well between stopping by CP for a quick beer at 5, and because the Moon's right down the road there. And this is
right there. Yeah,
there are some venues in Tallahassee where you're screwed at 5 o'clock. It's a 35-40 minute drive because of that little window of traffic that we do have in our fair city. You just hop on St. Augustine Road or Lafayette Road, whatever it's called, and, man, it's 1 and 2. You're right there. So stop by, do whatever you want to do on a Friday, but we've got options for you 2 ways, one of which is obviously at the CP, the other supporting the Battles End. Extremely important work that they're doing, and they couldn't be asking for help at a more important time given that the window is opening for the spring. Strange that we're still participating in spring practice, and we've got a spring showcase when the window is open, but what about these times in college football is normal? So see what you can do to make it by the Moon on Friday night.
Hey, by the way, really quickly, I'll get back to the football in a second, but it's of note here locally, yesterday's runner-up at the Masters, Ludwig Abor, is a resident here in Tallahassee. Now, he went to Texas Tech, but he counts Seminole Legacy as his home course. And a little background there, his fellow Swede, Jonas Blix, who played at Florida State, and who I've had the good fortune of talking to many times. Jonas was the last Swede to finish second there prior to Ludwig, and Jonas did it as a tie for second. Ludwig was outright yesterday, and it's strange to me. You think about what you were watching. That's his first ever Masters, his first ever major, and he finishes second by himself. Now, everybody finishes second to Scotty Scheffler, who is right now not even close, the best golfer in the world. And some of those numbers are Tiger-esque, to say the least. You could go through all of them. I did yesterday and researching the greatness of where his career is headed. It's insane that this is a man who's now got 3 wins on the year. He's played in 4 events. The only event he didn't win, he finished second. And, by the way, he hasn't a single round this year over par. And did some things yesterday that, all of this stuff is Tiger Woods-esque. Tiger Woods in 2001, first win of the season, Bay Hill. Second win of the season, Players. Third win of the season, Masters. Scotty Scheffler in 2024, first win of the season, Bay Hill. Second win of the season, Players. Third win of the season, Masters. By the way, Players Championship, which I mentioned, he has won back-to-back and is the only player to ever do so. It is pretty alarming, the numbers. Go dive into some of that stuff. Guys like Justin Ray on Twitter and people like that who put together unreal deep dives into these all-time numbers and how they compare to others. Pretty amazing. I did see something yesterday that, as a dad with kids that compete and want to get better, kind of warmed my heart. I don't know if you were listening to Max Homa's post-round presser, but it was pretty cool. He was asked questions about how he felt after the round and said, look, winning can be fickle, learning, working, growing, progressing. That's the dream. I'd love to have won a green jacket today for sure. It hurts. Losing sucks. But with the right mindset, losing leads to being better. And my goal in life is to constantly improve and see where that takes me. Hopefully that's a major championship. And maybe it's not. I'm okay with either, knowing that I'm doing everything I can to try to make that happen. I've got a sneaky suspicion it will end in a win at some point, but that's to be determined by future Sundays. Thanks so much for all the support this week to everybody out there. I can't explain how amazing it was. I'm super grateful to have been a part of this. That's a hell of an answer to how you're dealing with defeat. That's crazy good and succinct.
Well, that's what he does routinely. If the PR firm would do well to have Max Homa as a front man on the circuit.
Hiring him next week or when he retires.
Yeah, when his time is up, and he will be excellent for television purposes as well. The funny thing was yesterday I changed venues. I left the house, went out to go get some dinner, and watched the Masters while doing so. And I did it after Scotty birdied 8 because I thought, well, 9-10 is a defensive portion of the Masters typically, and the story of 1 to 8. Well, no, 9 was the shot of the final round for him. Whoops. Yeah. I got to see it on replay, of course, but that's when things changed. I left and it was 4-way at 6, and then 2 guys, are at 7 again, and then boom, Scotty is inevitable, and that's what he does. Especially now that he can putt a little bit, he's tremendous. Probably the hottest run of golf I have seen since Tiger in the early 2000s.
That's cool because now you begin to talk about crazy things as being possible. It works out well on a U.S. Open course. If he is the best ball striker and average in putting, he can win that way. If you kind of look, listen, if you look at the venues, he's set up to have a real run at it here. He could win 3 majors this year. He could, I guess, as an outside shot, you would, obviously get tons of plus money on it, but to win a Grand Slam, it's dumb. He doesn't finish outside the top 20. He's always going to be there. So there you go.
Yeah, look, Brooks's run in the majors, to tie it to Florida State really quick, is on par with what Scotty has done. In some ways, it's better so far. But then Brooks would go away when the regular events happened, even if they were marquee regular events. You just wouldn't see him. But he would be first page leaderboard or an outright winner for a stretch of time in the majors that seemed crazy. This dude is entering the major in form. Usually those dudes crumble. The betting favorite on Thursday when they go out hardly ever wins. He did.
Hardly ever wins. Yeah.
He's
this is second to do that in a long, long time. Was it Tiger? No,
Tiger did it. Like Ian Woosnam did it way back when. That was 91. Freddie Couples did it in 92. There's another name in the middle there somewhere, but I remember that graphic they put on the screen yesterday.
It's those numbers are nuts. So certainly enjoyable for those of us that love the game, but also the connection to Tallahassee. It was crazy with Ludwig. We're efforting, by the way, to get Ludwig on the show. I'd love to, and maybe that would be one of our other feeds or something like that. Certainly I'd like to put it within the show. We don't do just FSU stuff here, so I could, and I'd love to do that, sit down with him and talk about what it's like to hit those shots under that amount of pressure in your first ever major with that dude that you're trying to chase down. Pretty remarkable. And outside of one glaring mistake that he and Colin Morikawa clearly made, really Ludwig didn't have any other kind of faux pas, if you will. Everything else was solid as a rock. He didn't really waver other than pulling the 1 on 12.
The break for home run 12 is pretty tough too. I can't believe. I understand it's a difficult shot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, simple shot. It's an easy shot. No, it's not. 11, the approach is really, really difficult. But you know where not to miss? This isn't 12 where, you're trying to hit a strip that's front and back trouble. A lot of dudes miss 40 yards to the right, and that's okay. The left miss is, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, as soon as you see it, you're like, ooh, that is a toughie. By the way, we were referencing where Florida State baseball is at. You were bringing up the idea of a top 8 national seed. Certainly, there are 1 or 2 in the RPI, depending on where you want to look. And so, yeah, they are right now in a spot to get that. The next opponent, you bring up Wake Forest, is 10th in RPI right now.
And you got Duke right behind him.
And Duke's really good. Duke's been really good. Duke's been kind of fun to watch, too. That's an interesting team. So, yeah, man, you look at the ACC, and in most sports, they have struggled as, we've gone on here. You watch basketball, although they were able to prove yet again that they were way better than they were getting credit for from the committee. But you look at Clemson, Florida State sitting atop, along with the North Carolina that's up there in RPI, along with the Virginia that's up there in the top 10 in RPI, Wake Forest as well. And you brought up Duke. So, yeah, there's a lot of teams. This is a good league, a really good league. And if you watched NC State, then you saw what they're capable of this past weekend against Clemson as well. Troy Noel, happy Monday, Jeff and Tom, moving to Tallahassee area this year. Can't wait to be a diehard Noel in person. Yeah, well, this is the time of year you'd love to be here as well, because it's been simply magnificent. Appreciate that, Troy Noel. And that's a picture that we're both in, buddy. I appreciate that. Yep, smiles on the face.
That's from the deck of Hotel Indigo. I believe there will be some Hotel Indigo action this weekend as well. So stay tuned for that information. But yeah, thanks, Troy Noel. I know that the weather is part of the move there to help prolong life. That's what he put in the chat last week.
Yeah.
Blood oxygen needs a little help. So Tallahassee will be happy to help you.
Knock on wood, we're getting some of that again on Saturday. I wonder, as we have just a few minutes remaining in the hour, what the expectation is for Saturday, the actual game. There are so many players that are new to this roster that are expected simultaneously to be new, to contribute and matter and be difference makers for the season at hand. And I think that's where the eagerness to go in and see them, maybe not the overall product down to down. It's not like a real game. But you do want to get a glimpse for a lot of people who aren't as fortunate as we are, who cover this for a living and get out to those practices. This will be the first look at all the guys they've heard so much about. The Alabama transfers, and obviously, first look at Marvin Jones Jr. for a lot of people. I mean, I know if I were living out of town and I knew the history of Florida State and I knew who Marvin Jones was, and then I knew that his son was a 5-star that we didn't get and now have, I'd be most anxious probably to see him more than anybody else, because I would also be, if I were living out of town or anybody anywhere, listening to the Jeff Cameron Show, and I would hear Jeff and Tom talk about how pumped they were the first time they laid eyes upon Marvin Jones Jr. and how big that dude was and how ready physically he looked to be to play the role opposite old batted balls Peyton. I would want to see him immediately.
So the best friend of a spring game, if you're looking for ratings or attendance, 2 things. Well, now 3 with the portal, like you're talking about. The portal is a big deal. Young skill position players and young quarterbacks, I think also that's a big deal. So if you get to see Luke Kromenhawk for the first time, like things when you have the depth that the second and the third team players, and even maybe some that are deeper on the depth chart, but they're true freshmen that you really can't wait to see those dudes take the field. Anytime they mix up the personnel, you're excited. The problem for Florida State in recent spring showcases, like last year's, for example, you've got some young defensive backs you want to see Hakeem Williams. But, I mean, we know who the studs were. And then the next wave was, all right, not great, but not terrible. You're starting to build more and more position groups, and this is what we've been talking about all spring, where the talent is there on the second line of the depth chart. If they wanted to make a third line of the depth chart, there's talent there. And then you're bringing in blue chip classes. So the mixture of that means that anytime there's action on the field, you're not taking a mental break. That's what I'm excited for. You get to see the running back room. You get to see Chrome and Hawk play. You get to see some of these young defensive backs, your transfer portal players at defensive end. Yeah, this is good. People are going to enjoy this. I think this is going to be a good showcase because you've got the numbers to make it interesting for a long period of time.
I want to make sure we do our job and properly roll it out there for everybody when we do our pregame show at noon, because I have to confess, that's the fun for me, is prepping to do all this stuff and having the conversations with you and people listening in and us doing our job. And I'll tell you why, not just that's what we do, but I'm spoiled, Tom, ever since I was down on the field calling plays for this thing and listening to the headset of the coaches. I can't go back to these games and enjoy myself without that experience. So, Mike, if you're listening, buddy, can I get a permanent role on the field with a headset? I won't say a thing. I won't call. I'll just walk around, because once you gave me that, I can't go back. I know how the sausage made. I know what's up. I saw him put together a game plan. He's on the whiteboard showing me how they put all this stuff together. Then I'm listening to the coaches yelling at each other and the players. I was like, this is incredible. I can't just be some dolt in the stands or the press box. This ain't going to get it done. I need special treatment is what I'm trying to tell you. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Have you been injured on I-10? I'm Dana Brooks of Facing Brooks Law Offices. We partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic camera footage along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Memories fade and witnesses disappear. Securing important video footage now can make sure your claim receives the full attention it deserves. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Facing Brooks, 850-777-7777. Offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393. or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
If it's happening in the capital city, you'll hear it first on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Serious lines on the hill for the Atlanta Braves today. $1.20 road favorite at Houston, plus 100. Spencer Arrighetti, the rookie on the mound for the Astros, 9.5 flat the total at Tropicana Field. Zach Eflin on the mound for the Rays, $1.55 favorite against Patrick Sandoval and the Angels, plus 130. 8 over in Tampa. The NBA playoffs get underway for the Orlando Magic Saturday. They're a 4-point dog at Cleveland in game one of their first-round series, 207.5 the total. Tampa Bay Lightning laying $1.75 at Amalie Arena today against Buffalo, plus 145. 6 over the total. Free betting splits available at vsin.com/split. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Get the one and done you want for your dog's monthly protection. NexGard Plus, a Foxalon or Moxidectin and Pyrantel chewable tablets. Protects against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms. All in one delicious beef-flavored soft chew. Used with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask your vet about NexGard Plus chews.
Join Macy's and Trust for Public Land to bring more parks to more people across the country now during Earth Month. Throughout April, you can help turn vacant schoolyards into vibrant parks. Just donate online to Trust for Public Land or round up your Macy's store purchase up to 99 cents and donate the extra change. Give back today and find out how we're helping people in the planet thrive together at Macy's.com/purpose.
I'm Greg Tisch here to share one of my favorite TCC stories. In the summer of 1966, Eugene Lamb wanted to stay in shape before leaving to play college basketball in Louisiana. So he jogged to Tallahassee from his home in Midway and helped lay the bricks for the first building on what's now the TCC campus on Appleyard Drive. Today, he is a longtime member of the TCC District Board of Trustees. It's no exaggeration when we say Trustee Lamb helped build TCC into what it is today.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leaka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLeakaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leaka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4.
We're a podcast as well. Anywhere you get podcasts, it's on YouTube, it's on Warchant TV, it's on the radio, it's across the board. It's a multimedia extravaganza, so you can always find the show if you miss portions of it. And I like for you to do that. I like for you guys to do that, and to like it, and to pass it on, and to celebrate, and to tell people, and to do all the things. That'd be good. That'd be good. Tom and I were talking a lot about the upcoming spring game. There's a lot at hand here. We've got an event on Friday. A couple things going on Friday to point to. We will be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. That's Appalachian Parkway. That is at 5 o'clock. A little happy hour for those rolling into town. It'll be a pleasure to see you guys again. I remember last year was delightful. A lot of folks came over to the CP, introduced themselves to members of the Warchant staff, myself included, and that was fun to hear their story and their background, and also to talk about how excited we all were to watch that Florida State team. Of course, we didn't know at the time they were going to go 13-0, but we had a sense they'd be good, and I got a sense yet again this year that they're going to be good, and so the enthusiasm remains high. That'll be 5 o'clock again at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Little happy hour meet and greet. Hang out, take your time, and then, by the way, taking on down the road over to the Battle's End event, which is Mike Norvell addressing the masses that show up for the event at the Moon. That is the same day, April the 19th, and it's from 5 to 7:30. Proceeds benefit the Battle's End. It's only $40 for those general admission tickets. You can get VIP sponsorships that are available. In fact, I know JB did just that. James B did just that. And we saw each other at the golfing on Friday at the Jeff Cameron Show Invitational, Warchant Invitational for Second Harvest of the Big Ben. We were laughing about that. But look, again, the silent auction, they're going to have that. It will be an opportunity to bid on exclusive autographed memorabilia. And, pretty cool because you go out there and you see some really unique stuff, and you get a chance to talk with players, and you get a chance to bid on cool items, and you know that this is money being raised for something that directly benefits Florida State football big time. So you can do both, guys. You can say, hey, stop by the CP to have a beer, say hello, make your way on over to the State of the Knolls, Mike Norvell live address at the Moon, 5 to 7:30. There'll be a lot of other stuff there, too. I think they've got players of yesteryear, players of now. By the way, Big Meech stopped by the golf tournament on Friday. It was great to see him. He even got involved, came by. Was that number 6 we were putting with him on, Tom? I believe it is. And had another hole-in-one this year at the JCS Invitational. How about that? Back-to-back years, somebody has hit their first hole-in-one at our golf tournament, Tommy. That's cool. I would say that we just put on spectacular events.
Well, that we do. Fireworks left and right at these events. There's even a station that people were raving about again this year, second year in a row, of pimento cheese sandwiches on the drivable 13th hole. That's nicely done by your tournament director, because the longest wait is on a drivable par 4 or a reachable par 5. So when you're going to wait, why not have some sandwiches, and master sandwiches at that? So a lot of good things that were out there last Friday. And congratulations to Daryl, who hit his hole-in-one and did the right thing by getting some beverages for some people at the CP.
It should also be noted that on that drivable par 4, one of the members of the team did drive the drivable par 4 of number 13.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Of our team, the person who hit the most great, quote unquote, shots, high quality shots, is on the left side of this screen right now. If you're watching on Warchant TV, that would be you.
Hit some shots on Friday, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hit some shots in there. A little bit of everything, really. The whole arsenal was on display. You had, there were a few draws in there, a few little buttery cut fades in there. Had the tank drives of the day. A lot of things going on. With this guy's game right now.
That is correct. I think my drive on 14 might have been one of the tank drives of the day. But
it's not to say that nobody else had one. Yeah, sure, certainly. Yeah, it was a very impressive drive.
The draw on 10 down the hill, that was the most pretty looking shot of the day from you.
Well, it was fun is what it was. We had a good time. It was, and I did play pretty well, which is always nice. That's not always the case, by the way, but yeah. It was good. And moreover, I think everybody had fun. Everybody I ran into did. And we want to thank the fine folks, not only of the Second Harvest of the Big Ben, which we'll be putting on a show Thursday for them. Hopefully you guys feel as, interested, engaged, excited as you were a year ago. That blew me away. Those shows that we do, we're able to raise money because of what YouTube allows now that they didn't used to, where you guys can go in and directly donate to the charitable cause and not have to worry about YouTube taking it, and we're not going to take it. It all 100% goes to the benefactor, like we did a year ago where we raised a lot of money. We'll be doing it again this Thursday. And so that kind of combines as a nice 1-2 punch for our ability to try to continue to do good things in the community. And that's what we should do. I mean, we got a medium, we got a forum to do it, and a lot of people want to. So we're going to provide that opportunity again on Thursday. So doff the cap to everybody. Tom, you did a great job as always, buddy. All right, so back to the items at hand. Obviously, we did document that baseball team's ass-kicking of its arch rivals in what was a perfect week. You cannot – I don't know that as long as I live from this point forward, barring this team steamrolling everybody on their way to a national championship out in Omaha, I don't know that you're going to get a better week's worth of games. Just a singular week? Like, that was insane what Florida State baseball just did, and absolutely bending Florida over in a way that was uncomfortable for people to have to watch 19-4 in a game that was never competitive after the first, and then turning around shorthanded in a shortened week for TV purposes, having the game moved up and turn around and beat Miami's ass in 3 straight. You're just not going to beat that. That's tough to beat. Like, even winning the conference isn't going to beat that. This was just get you some bums.
That would be also why I think Link Jarrett and the staff are very pleased because of the nature of the short week. You're coming off of a 5-game week of college baseball, not routine. You got your bumps and your bruises in the rotation. You got a Tuesday, and then, which Link Jarrett pointed out, Thursday, because television wants it, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, he was a little angry there.
I don't know that he said it quite like I did, but you could tell he was not pleased that we're moving this thing a day up. To be able to weather all of that so you're playing 9 games in a short period of time when you don't have a couple of arms that you're looking to for 5 and 6 innings.
Two really important arms, yes.
Huge innings. To be able to navigate that, exhale, and then regroup for 2 tough weekend series against Wake Forest and Duke. I mean, you could extend it out and just say North Carolina State the next weekend is going to be very important as well. But when you're talking about differentiating yourself amongst the top 16 or the top 8 for a national seed, these upcoming weekend series are critical so that you are able to navigate that, the emotions of the rivalry. And I love this about this team with all the new players here at Florida State. You can tell the rivalry games still matter a whole bunch to this dugout, which is great that they've embraced that already. Okay, now let's come down from whatever that was, which was awesome, and let's focus and let's get to winning some weekend series here so that we can be on the inside track for hosting as long as we're playing before Omaha. And I think that's where they want to be, and that's where they could very well be a month from now.
You know, one thing that stands out to me, if you are trying to peer into the future, and again, last hour, I kind of made the case not to do that, not to step out of the moment and get caught up in what's possible. It is almost impossible. There's always something coming or going, as I say a lot on the show. And so being present is difficult. when you're good, it's really hard to stay grounded because it's not the arrogance of that. It's the what's possible. Like, golly, they're talented. They're good. In fact, Link Jarrett said that. I think his quote, I pulled it over here. I put it up in my notes for the show. Yeah, it starts with talented players. If you're really talented, it gives you a better chance to walk out there and have success. If you're focused, that adds to it. Regardless of how good it's going or how bad it's going, you have to play the games on both ends of that spectrum. We have a talented group and we have a focused group. I think just the conveyor belt of that coming at you produces what appears to be some magical potion sometimes. It's just their dedication, their physical talent, and their focus that gives you repetitive chances to do something, whether you're up, down, or tied. They're just able to do it because they're good players that are focused and they stick with it. That is one of my favorite quotes of the year. That is a fantastic quote on so many levels. And it's direct, it's precise, and it's 100% accurate. It is a wave of talent that is locked in that at some point wears people down. They give themselves opportunity after opportunity after opportunity because they have good at-bats. And there's no glaring flaw within the lineup. College baseball in particular, and it's always been this way, but it's true right now throughout the country if you look at overall numbers. College baseball is about offense. You've got to be able to put up runs because the defense is never going to be as good as it is in the majors. And there isn't elite bullpen after elite bullpen that you're going to face. There might be a squad that has 2 to 3 good starting pitchers who are destined to go to the majors, but very few teams have an overabundance of arms that can shut down balanced, thorough, deep offensive lineups like Florida State. So they come at you in waves. They work walks. They work at bats. They foul balls off, and eventually you make a mistake. And there are a lot of guys on this team, not just Smith and Tibbs, that if you make that mistake, it's going to leave the yard. It's going to be hit hard somewhere. And a game that was just 2-2 or 1-0 or 3-0 in your favor is now tied. And just like that, the onslaught is on. And that gives me a lot of reasons to be excited about those games in the future that I'm trying to ignore and be present, because I don't know that that's going to change. Now, you're going to run into an arm at some point that is painting the black. You're going to run into an arm on a given day, and you just hope it's not on a very important day, that is able to take control of a game, because starting pitching can do that. That's how bad teams beat good teams. It happens all the time at every level of baseball. So in Major League Baseball, as I've noted, the worst team in the league can beat the best team in the league, and does frequently on any given night in Major League Baseball, because somebody's painting. And they go out and have a day. They're pros, or they're elite on that day. They've got full command of their entire arsenal. And the next thing you know, you're 7 innings in and you're down 4-0. And there's some deficit you don't come back from. It happens. But most of the time, if what you're doing is presenting the opportunity to the next guy, and you're passing it off in a lineup full of talented players, and you're putting the ball in play, and it's not a strikeout festival every night, you're able to get good at bat after good at bat, you wear, especially in college, you wear teams down. And this team will do that for themselves. They don't seem to fret in the moment. There haven't been too many days where you think they're rattled or that the moment was too big for them. There's been one series all year in which that was the case. And as we've described, the circumstances in that situation were utterly insane. Nobody's baseball ops runs a weekend series the way that Clemson's backwoods sorry-ass folks do. So other than that one outlier, everything else has been absolutely Florida State finding ways to respond to adversity and put pressure on opposing teams inning after inning after inning. And for the most part, C30-5, they've come out on the right end.
Well, what did that bullpen do right after? So it's also, your confidence could be totally shaken, and then you have a bullpen game against Florida on Tuesday. Tough travel because you're getting home from Clemson late, and then you're turning around going to Jacksonville, and then they're awesome, and they continue to be awesome after that. I just like this group's ability as well as a lineup. It seems like they have a scout, and they stick to the scout. So, for example, Thursday night's game against Miami, they're swinging early in counts. So it must be that the scout is for that pitcher. Hey, don't sit back and wait. If you find something you could swing at, he's a good player. He's a good pitcher. I think that might be something that we see moving forward here as we play more good opponents with aces, real aces on a Friday night, that you might see the bats active. Like, for example, Thursday night, the first 5 outs that Miami recorded took 10 pitches, and then they had a 4th inning that took 4 pitches. We were swinging the bats, and I think we adapt to whatever it is the scout might say or what feedback they're getting in the moment that day. I like adaptability instead of being something that's cookie cutter throughout. You know what they're going to be game in and game out, because you can game plan against a predictable opponent. Doesn't mean you're going to beat him, but you can game plan against them. I think we're varied enough at the plate. We have good at-bats that we work 6 and 7 and 8 pitches, and then sometimes we're just going to ambush you. I do enjoy the variety of that.
Just like I enjoy the variety of Zaxby's, which, oh, by the way, you can find at 106 locations in Tallahassee, Florida. My goodness, those of you lucky enough to live and work in Tallahassee, you're not going to miss the opportunity to swing by your neighborhood Zaxby's and cash in the chips on the variety that you got from Zaxby's. It's delicious, all of it, and you can do so today. And I would suggest it. Mondays can be hectic. It's tough to kind of ease your way back in the week. Nobody wants the fuss of cooking. You know what? You're thinking about getting off of work right now while you listen to the Jeff Cameron Show. You're reminded of how entertaining I am. And then you say, you know what? In addition to that, I'm going to get me some good food. This is going to be a good stretch of several hours that we're putting together on a Monday. Putting it all together before I go to bed tonight early. Go to bed early tonight, guys. It's Monday. There's no reason to stay up unless you're watching a team like the Pirates who are in first place. But other than that, you just, you find reasons to get plenty of rest and load up for the big weekend at hand. That's what I would do if I were you, and I would start you started by listening to this show. But then secondarily, I'd go over to Zaxby's and support Danny and Zaxby's, who've been a Golden Chief booster for over 19 years. Doing some things, as I like to say, doing some things. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be a good time.
One of the better smells in the world. We talk about that fresh cut grass.
That is the best smell in the world.
Then there's the sound of baseball cleats, specifically on gravel as you're walking into a field. That's a great sound. One of the better smells is so you have the individually wrapped chicken sandwich within the bag. When you open up that individually wrapped chicken sandwich from Zaxby's and you just catch that little breath. Oh, buddy, that's like, I have made the right decision. And you will have too if you go to Zaxby's.
Got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, got the spring game. You've got Major League Baseball. You got a lot. This is good. This will get us through. Until I bring the family up to New York to see you and hang out and go to baseball games and walk around Manhattan and have a good time. Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too,
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Have you been injured on Interstate 10? I'm Jimmy Fasig of Fasig Brooks Law Offices. We've partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic cameras along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Let us help you get the proof you need to stand up for yourself and get fair compensation for your injuries. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Fasig Brooks, 850-777-7777, offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up?
I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Big Daddy Jay does have some NBA playoff opportunities to wager on. I'm in a head-to-head wager with my son. I took the Dallas Mavericks to knock off the Clippers. We were kind of going back and forth just talking about all these different matchups at some point down the line. I'll get to all of that. Tom says he's stepping in with some big-time hockey wagers today. We've got chances at some Red Russians. Is that right? What we got going on here at the end of the show today?
I've got one that I think is a reasonable play, and then I've got what I like to call the gotta have it parlay, 5-way gotta have it parlay. That's I see why Lee Sterling likes to name these things. It's fun, but it pays out just about 10-1. But I think the odds are better than 10-1 of it happening. Therefore, value. Therefore, give it a shot.
Bets I won and lost at the Masters this weekend. Siwoo Kim did not finish as the top South Korean. Bastard. Corey Connors did finish as the top Canadian. That's a win for yours truly. Xander Schauffele was a lock for the top 10, which is what I told you before the tournament began. And he again finished in the top 10 because that's what he does. It was wonderful to see at plus 240. That was easy money. We're just stealing money from there. I had a loss. Heath Thagala sucked. Didn't do anything worth the damn. Not worth mentioning. I did win money thanks to Tommy Fleetwood, who is also a mortal lock in almost every major to finish in the top 20. He did yet again. In fact, finish in the top 5. Well, extra pizza money for the campster here. I lost my ass on Thorborn Olesen, who fell to pieces. In his first Masters, didn't finish anywhere close to the top 20. That surprised me. However, I made it all back with Taylor Moore to finish in the top 20, and Taylor Moore did indeed finish in the top 20, and that is a win. Lost on Matthew Fitzpatrick, sprinkled pizza money on him to win. He blew up on Sunday with a 75. That sucked. Shane Lowry did not come through. It's hard to win outrights, but I did mention him as well. Shane won me some money in the make the cut market, but that was about that. So we did all right. We did okay. We came out ahead. I even won the weekend pool that I'm in with T. Lizzie. So that was good too.
Yeah, you had a good week. You had a good profitable weekend. I was okay. The biggest bet that paid out for me that mitigated losses, it was a slight red in the red weekend, was Oberg. Top 20. I laid it large. I felt like top 20.
Nice. Yeah.
It was 2.5-1. I'm like, man, 2.5-1. Let's go for it here. And Ludwig did just fine by me.
Well, and he's just a really, really consistently good player. So I think that is something moving forward. You want guys whose games travel. identifying, and one of the coolest things that, and this is where, and I've talked about this before, you don't have to gamble, don't have to like gambling, don't have to like gambling discussions, but there is something to be learned from odds as presented by Vegas, and also following that from week to week, because it'll teach you something about the actual thing you care about, which is maybe the game or the event or the player, right? You end up finding out about, hey, whose game travels, who's consistent, who across types of grass and regionality and all of that, who shows up every week, who's there that I can count on that, hey, just because they're not playing on, Poya this weekend, he's got a chance to succeed or whatever it might be. And that's one of the things that's fun about this. My man, Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Busy week for all of us at Warchant. We're so excited. Monday Smash tonight. Ira will be talking and expounding upon what we should expect to see, I would imagine, for the spring game this weekend. That's going to be the topic for a lot of us, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in tonight at 7 o'clock for that. Ira, how are you, brother?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. Doing really well. Thanks for playing on Friday. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully, you were able to get the mud stain out of the shirt.
We made it, buddy. We survived.
All right, what are you most looking forward to the spring game? What should we, as we talk to people who will be coming into town this upcoming weekend, that are going to be coming to the various events and then going to the game itself, what do you think that you should draw their attention towards?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's going to have their eyes on DJ Uyunglele. I mean, I think that's going to be the number one focus for everybody to see what he looks like. People haven't seen him since in person, probably since he came to Doak a couple of years ago, and he looked good on that day.
Mm-hmm.
But, obviously had a pretty up and down career at Clemson. And when he was at Oregon State, he was probably out of mind. So this will be the first chance for fans to see him up close. So I think that's going to be the main focus for everybody. And I think they're going to be pleased. I think he's going to play well. He's played well in the last couple of weeks for sure. He's looked very comfortable and making some really impressive passes. I think from things that'll like leap out at people is I think the secondary. I think people will be pleasantly surprised. You lose a couple, 2 or 3 guys who are going to go play in the NFL. You may expect that group to take a step back, but I don't think any of us expect that after seeing him this spring. I think that secondary group, particularly Azaria Thomas and Central Cypress, is playing really well, and Shaheem Brown and Earl Little, the transfer from Alabama. That group, I think, is, if I had to put money on it, I'd say that group is going to impress people. And, I think the defensive line will impress people as much as they play. We'll see how much they play those guys because you obviously don't want to risk anything. And then, I think the one thing I would tell people to look for, if they really want to, if they're curious about something, because I think we're curious about is the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I still think we're looking for just more overall consistency and playmaking at that position. So those are the things I think most people should be looking for.
Wrote a piece you did for Warchant.com on Marvin Jones Jr. I couldn't wait to read it and did, and I would invite others to do the same. That's a guy that obviously I've told people many times, Marvin is my favorite. His father is my favorite player in FSU history, and I was also really excited to see once he decided he was going to hit the transfer portal and come to Florida State, how quickly he could acclimate and how quickly he could help this team. What'd you find out in that piece? I've read it, of course, but obviously in doing so, you probably had to do some research, and certainly the quotes are there from him talking about how much fun it's been this spring, and he's learning something new every day. Anything else to share about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, from watching him, practice, I've got a chance to, even when they've gone in the indoor facility, I've got to watch some of the defensive line drills and watch the way he learns and watch the way he does drills. And, it's just impressive. I mean, he's very impressive physically. He's also impressive, I think, if you watch his interviews. I mean, he's done a couple of them now since he's been in Tallahassee. I mean, he's a very smart kid. He really seems to kind of have a serious nature about him. He's different, though, and I mentioned in the piece, he's very different than Jared Verse in terms of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Verse was, larger-than-life personality, wanted all the attention on him, was going to talk trash, was going to, run around celebrating. I don't think that's going to be Marvin Jones. I think he's going to be much more just kind of about his business. But I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think he's, his serious nature, I think, has helped him make a lot of improvement pretty quickly. And I think, I'm excited about him. I know some people were curious just because he didn't really blow up at Georgia. But I think this could be another case where somebody comes to Florida State and really plays much better than they did at their prior school.
Who's a guy that has surprised you the most that maybe you could also point to that doesn't get a lot of love, doesn't get talked about on the shows, doesn't get written about as much, but you've been very impressed by through spring so far, that maybe is emerging to a place in a level that he was not expected to?
I'm trying to think if there's anybody that jumps off. I would say one is another guy we just wrote about the other day was Devontae Brown.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, he's huge, by the way. I would just look at his proportions. That's a big dude.
Yeah, and he played corner, and I don't think was he started, I think, 30 games at Central Florida. He basically started since midway through his freshman year at UCF, back, I think, when Randy Shannon was still the defensive coordinator there. Randy Shannon's really close to the family. Also, Patrick Surtain coached him in high school, so they've got really good connections there. So when they brought him in, I think they knew what they were getting. He had played only cornerback in college, and I think only cornerback in high school, but I think they had designs on seeing what he looked like as a safety. And because of that, because they're so deep at corner, and because they're so experienced in the secondary, I mean, I just didn't know if he would fit in. I was kind of curious about that take, but then you watch them practice, and I think he's got a chance to play at safety. I think that the safety spot opposite of Shaheem Brown is still pretty wide open. I mean, I think a lot of us penciled in Conrad Hussey after as much as he played last year as a true freshman, and he may win the job. But I think Devontae Brown could play there. I think KJ Kirkland and some of these other guys could play there as well. So that I definitely think he's going to be in the mix. Whether he wins a starting job, I think he's going to play a lot. He's a guy that probably wasn't on a lot of people's radar.
So many new faces for people to get excited about coming into town to watch, and so many ways to kind of catch up with all of us on the Warchant staff as well. I know you'll be a part of the event with the Battle's End, and we'll be over there at Corner Pocket as well, same day. Lots of things happening all week long. You'll want to keep it to warchant.com and all the shows, whether it's Wake Up Warchant, Jeff Cameron Show, tonight's Monday Smash as well. Ira, always appreciate it, brother. Be good.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Yep, take care. That is Ira Schoffel. You'll see him tonight, 7 o'clock, Warchant TV. Tom, are you co-hosting that, buddy?
Aslan is co-hosting tonight.
Nice. All right. Aslan and Ira. There we go.
It's been, I think, now the last 3 weeks, 3 different hosts. I intend fully to be there next Monday, but Aslan is hosting tonight. And
nice rotation.
I think they'll be talking portal, too, tonight as well, because the portal's open. It's a strange time that we're in because we've still got spring practice going, but this is just the market. This is what happens when you see a player that maybe could fit for Florida State. Obviously, for Florida State, there's going to be some position groups that we know are on the way out. We remember how hectic it was in December and January in the back half of that window. We didn't really see too much, and then we saw everything happen at once. It's going to be fascinating to see how Florida State shuffles the roster again, because the coaching staff will tell you what they think they need. We can speculate all day about what we believe that they need or what they should add. The staff will tell you what their evaluations of spring practice were based upon who they're interested in, who visits campus.
Transfer portal conversation is interesting for a lot of reasons. I see folks in the Heisen Lake Law Firm chat talking about Rodney Hill, who was a guy that we were all so excited about for a long time there. Tom, I can't help but kind of feel bad. It came up. Somebody noted that he's once again in the portal. And so now it's Florida State, Florida A&M, Miami, a couple other places he was linked towards to at some point. I want to get back to the root of all this, which is something that is unfortunate, and we see it in this day and age. There are a lot of things that are very good about name, image, likeness, a lot of things that are very good about the ability to transfer and players getting more power and having more and greater opportunities. But then there is the downside of guys who sometimes get, frankly, in my opinion, horrific advice. And sometimes that advice is from people who would purport to have their best interest in mind. Some people who are acting as pseudo agents. Other times it's their own family and the fights within the family that we've seen over the years. It could be an uncle or a brother or a friend or whatever giving them horrific advice. And by the time they realize this person who they thought they could trust and believed in and who they thought loved them and had only their best interest in mind, once they recognized that the whole thing had been bastardized, the damage had already been done. They were down the road and they had burnt bridges and there would be no coming back. And it's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of ability. It is a self-sabotage. And when things like that happen, it makes me sad because it shouldn't happen. And I do think somewhere along the way, You want this to be a little bit more like, as we move more towards pro football, like that, where these kids have legitimate professionalism guiding their every move, right? Agents and the like, people who understand what's happening, making better decisions for them, or at least advising them as to the kind of decisions they should make, as opposed to, unfortunately, sometimes, like I said, overzealous family members or downright nefarious pseudo agents or things of that ilk. And I think Rodney Hill kind of feels like a case study in that right now to me.
Yeah, it's just hard because, the bridge is burned, but you wish there's a scenario by which you could welcome him back, even if it was like as a PWO, and then maybe you find a way to get some room and board taken care of, and then he can be the one to deliver the message in the locker room. Because you hear stories of programs across the Southeast in the country where, a kid gets in the team group text and it's like a cancerous effect to the culture based upon what this kid is saying, that NIL opportunities are available here, there, and everywhere. And now players are checking each other's pockets and you have this negativity builds. Florida State's done a pretty good job of avoiding that. But how powerful would it be to have a player like Rodney Hill available for the next year or two if you could find a situation in which he says, folks, slow your roll. You think the grass is always greener, but I'm here to tell you I've lived it. I was in position A, and now I'm having to work my way up through the roster. I know that can't possibly happen, and maybe he's extending those types of communications anyway. But he had the talent, man. He did. And it seems like he's going to have to be some sort of underdog story somewhere, and I don't know where that is.
A cautionary tale. And I do think it's important for players when they test the waters and they kind of think that there's something, as you noted, grass is always greener type scenario. If they do that without ever leaving, we've had some players say that they're entering the portal but then never left, right? We've had a few of those sets of circumstances where I'm sure they were wooed and lured by promises of fabulous wealth and other, obviously, amenities, only to kind of do their own due diligence and realize, well, that's not real. That's not a thing. That's not going to happen. Only half of what I was being told was going to happen is possible, or maybe a third of what I was being told. It's not what a lot of people think it is. It is for precious few. If you are an elite player at a position of great need, say quarterback, you can command all kinds of things. If you are an all-time great wide receiver, you might be able to command a lot of things from a lot of programs and a lot of people. If you're just another guy at a position, or even a plus player at a position that is not nearly as sought after, those promises of fabulous riches don't exist, man. They can be there, but it's not real. As this thing gets more regulated and more figured out by the collectives who have begun to understand what is possible and sustainable, more importantly, nobody's going out here paying $1 million for a running back, guys. It's a running back. Stop it. And, unless this is like the second coming of Walter Payton and you know it for sure, you're not doing it. You're just not doing it. So if it sounds too good to be true for a lot of these kids, it is. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
The Leon County Sheriff's Office said Friday morning at approximately 2:43 a.m., a 43-year-old woman was brought into the Leon County Detention Facility by a breasting agency after being medically cleared by a local hospital. The woman was
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leaka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLeakaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leaka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows level off around 56. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 85 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 83 degrees.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right,
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Great Jackie Robinson. We celebrate. It's Jackie Robinson Day, Major League Baseball. Very cool. It's cool to go back and do the research on Jackie, I might add, by the way, for those of you that maybe haven't. Go back and see what kind of generational athlete that dude was. Stud football player, could have played in the league, in addition to being a great baseball player. And go back and listen to that Hall of Fame speech, as humble a Hall of Fame speech as you'll ever hear. And, I think back to my conversation with Jack McKeon, who was friends with Branch Rickey, which is insane. I love when you meet super old people who are also still with it. And there I am sitting talking to a guy who was friends with Branch Rickey. And Branch Rickey, of course, is the one who opened the door for Jackie Robinson to enter Major League Baseball. We got probables coming up in a little bit here, and that means this will be the final segment for you folks in the Heisen Lincoln Law Firm chat.
Yeah, that always reminds me of the conversation we had at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill with Mr. Earl. Did he remember anybody from his youth that was as old as he was in that moment? You remember anybody, Earl, that was 80 or 90? Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Conversations about the Civil War.
Aunt Ginny. And an Aunt Ginny who had to batten down the hatches in Atlanta as Sherman made his way through Georgia.
Yeah.
They had to hide the farm animals, like weird stories, but yet they had to hide the farm animals because they needed to eat when they came through. The reports were coming ahead of time, so it's I guess kind of like the reverse Paul Revere, but people coming, he's going to burn everything.
Yeah,
you got to hide stuff. You got to hide it. He is coming, and
except for Savannah. But by the way, it's a fun thing. In all seriousness, go back and go just have some fun with it today. It's a day in which we honor Jackie Robinson, but it's a fun thing to do when you go back and look at his numbers out in college, out in Pasadena, the things he was doing. He was an incredible player.
It's wild. My dad's first game he went to, I told this story many times, but I said, Dad, there's Baseball Reference. There's this thing now that can find the game. And so he described, it was Dodgers versus Giants. It was 54, I think. It was 53 or 54. Said it was July, and the score was, I think, 3-1. I was like, okay, I can find this now. And he about came to tears because I found the box score of the game. He goes, the 5th inning, that's when the home run was hit. Like, he remembered all of it. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the box score, and I see Jackie Robinson. I said, Dad.
You saw Jackie Robinson, yeah.
I should have put two in. It's Ebbets Field. It's Brooklyn Dodgers. I should have put it together. He's like, of course I did. What do you mean I saw Jackie Robinson? Of course I did. Oh, my God.
Yeah, my dad tells stories. Sorry, Tom. Yeah, my dad tells these stories about Roberto Clemente and stuff, knowing that I'm a Pirates fan, and he was young in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and going into the city, into Pittsburgh to see the Pirates play with his family, and then talking to me about these guys that, came and went, and including the great Roberto Clemente. And then, of course, Roberto died before I could ever see him. It's just a legend in the films of what he did. It's cool to think of like a version of your father who's younger than you are now at these games, going to these games and seeing these players and how excited they were in the same way that we would be now.
And the best part is, of course I did. Well, Dad, that's a big deal. He's like, Jackie was in the middle of our lineup. Of course he was there. Oh, what are you talking? If he wasn't playing, we're in bad shape.
Speaking of bad shape, perhaps your hot tub is. And I would say to you, it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be that way. Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas has everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it. They've got it. You knew that. But they also, in addition to having the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the entire city, and you can easily finance those, by the way, so comfort is no money down for you. If you've got an older hot tub and you've been putting off upgrading that because you don't want to deal with the hassle of having to get the old tub removed and you're not even sure how you're going to do that in order to haul it away, Pinch A Penny has a solution. They'll do it for you. That's the best kind of solution, right? Oh, here we have a solution. We'll do it. I like that solution. That's a good one. It doesn't involve me having to do a damn thing. It does involve them coming out, grabbing your old tub, taking that dilapidated thing away, and then giving you some money towards your new tub for it. How about that? Check them out today. You can have an amazing hot tub. It's not out of reach. See them today on Greer Road and find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pinch A Penny's Pools and Spas. Probably the last, morning, if you were going to get into your hot tub, we're approaching the last mornings where it's nippy when you first go out. And soon it's just going to be, ready-made. You're good to go. It's always good to be in a hot tub. I'm just saying that some of the days when it's really cold out, you're like, ooh, we're about running out of those days.
Where I felt very fortunate for the weather last Friday specifically. Because when you get in April, those 50-degree mornings, 55, 56, like you're down to your last handful. And we did get one of those. Because it's nice to start the golf day, 8 o'clock in the morning with a little breeze. A little brisk, and then you work into spring. Then you work into a bona fide spring afternoon. And that's what it was. We're going to get that. If you want more of that, come on up here. Come on up here.
I will.
Because the high for the next week is about 57. So you can still, those Pinch A Penny spas would be in full flight still for another 3-4 weeks probably.
All right. Those of you in the chat, peace out. Good to see you. Thanks for having been here. I will say this. If for some reason you, and it's a good reason because it's fun to do, want to hear probables and watch and or listen both perhaps, realtalk93.com/listen live. Go to the website, realtalk93.com/listen live.